how to manage up. This is one of the most frequently asked questions that I get working with some of the top leaders and educators on the planet, because not all the leaders and educators that I work with are at the top. Most people who work have a boss. And so in this video, I'm gonna give you a really useful idea and tool for you to create a culture of managing up, for you to invite your leaders to make it easier for you to manage up, and to create a tool yourself as a leader to create an environment where people can give you some honest feedback. Because I've noticed the further up a hierarchy I go working with leaders, the harder it is and the more they struggle to get really good, honest feedback that makes the organization better, right? They struggle to get the truth because managing up has some fear associated with it. What's gonna happen? What is this person gonna think of me? Am I gonna be on a blacklist? Am I gonna get fired? All these thoughts come up that prevent us from managing up. And all of those thoughts relate back to the degree of psychological safety. And what I'm about to share with you can dramatically increase psychological safety. Quick invite throughout this video, if you'd like to see me do a follow-up video on something more specific about managing up that I did not hit on here, leave a comment with a specific context or a specific question related to this, and I will hear that and get it on the docket to record a video specific to what you're wondering about related to this managing up dynamic. Sometimes people come to me who say, okay, this, all your ideas on the channel and your work and within We and Me of connection before content and Mark Collard's idea of doing unofficial starts, all of these concepts are really great, but I'm not leading the meeting. So how do I actually run this? This video is not going to address that specifically, but it will be immensely useful. And I thought to record this because I actually just hired a new director of connections for We and Me. Her name is Heather. She's a wonderful human being. And as a way of onboarding, I was thinking, how could I make smooth the process as much as possible to set norms, etc. So a few years ago, when I hired Eliza, who is our director of details, I came across this article titled "How Bosses Can Make It Easier for Employees to Manage Up." And in it, they spelled out this particular method of creating a user guide, right? So I'm actually gonna share pieces of my user guide. I'm not gonna link to the whole thing. If you wanna pause and really read it, you can. It's a bit of a vulnerable document, and I'll explain why in a moment. But the idea is when you buy a vacuum cleaner, it comes with a user manual. And that user manual is probably like 40 pages long. Now, 30 of those pages might be because the legal department got involved, but the point is it comes with a how-to guide. People are way more complex than a vacuum, but we don't come with a user guide. And so what this article spelled out is the idea of what if you created a user guide? Or what if you had every employee in your organization create a user guide so that when teams merge or got together or work together, you could just say, here's a link to my user guide. This is how we can work best together. So it is literally a Google Doc and titled User Guide to Working with Chad. And soon enough, there will be likely a guide that's titled User Guide to Working with Heather. And there's multiple sections on it. I'm not gonna go through the whole entire thing, but the idea is for anybody who I'm working with internally or externally. So we've got a contract web designer and graphic designer and video editors, and anybody else somebody working closely with is welcome to read this. It is a 5-page document, but there's some stuff filling that up. So right off the bat, we've got some communication norms. So things like I prefer over communication. I would rather you let me know what's happening rather than wondering if you're alive or not. I prefer over communication. There's details specifically about how I like to think about text messages, phone calls, emails, meetings, culture of meetings. Feedback, right? And this is all stuff that I typed. Some of the categories were inspired. Your guide can look however you want it to be. You can make it one page. You can use my categories. You can use somebody else's categories. But here's an example of a line in the feedback section. Feedback is terrifying when it's done rarely and not a big deal when it's done constantly. So I prefer to give and receive feedback quite often. When Heather's onboarding, first week, right? I'm meeting with her multiple times next week, kind of for the first time to really, well, not the first time meeting with her, but first official time that she's joined the team. And so reading that statement, is really helpful to be clear, to know that that's coming. The other thing is too, I made my user guide, but it's in an editable Google Doc. And so me and Heather are gonna meet and talk about this stuff. I'm not just gonna say,
this is who I am, this is what you have to adapt to.
I can be flexible and adaptable, and I want to be. And so I wanna be able to have Heather read through this and flag it with things that make a lot of sense, that really appreciates, and then some things that she knows would clash with her user guide. So there's a section on feedback, there's a section on my pace, energy, and working style. If you haven't been able to tell this from videos, I can be a bit of an intense person. And so, yeah, I try to, when I wake up at 3 a.m. with an idea, I try to schedule that email to be sent at 8 a.m., but sometimes I forget because it's 3 a.m. But to be clear, I don't expect anybody to meet that pace. And so I say that right in the user guide. By the way, if you want to pause and read this at any point, you can, but then you have to become a client and reach out. So just kidding. I believe information should be free, and working with some of the coolest organizations and leaders and educators is how I run We and Me and create awesome tools to share at a low cost to make them accessible to everybody. So section on personality and quirks. Decision making, knowing how decisions are made is really useful. A section specifically titled How to Earn My Trust. That one I think is really useful as opposed to making people wonder, right? So for me, you earn my trust by over communicating with me, you seek understanding, ask lots of questions, it tells me you're engaged, you challenge me from a place of understanding, you acknowledge what you don't know and how you are learning about it. You do what you say you'll do, right? That integrity piece, sticking to your word. And then the bonus points ones, like you take initiative to do things before they're even asked of you. I should put an emoji next to that one. And then the alternative, what frustrates me and erodes my trust in you, professional development. I've got this idea that anybody that's working with me, whether they're on my team or a contractor, I want to support their professional development. The moment we stop learning, we start dying. And so if there is a way that I can fund or support someone else's professional development, I want to be able to do that. And I think I should be practicing that, seeing that I'm billing clients oftentimes for professional development. And then just a logistics or random category with any miscellaneous things. If you were to create a user guide, everybody were to have one, and it doesn't have to be 5 pages, it doesn't have to be an overwhelming task. In fact, with your team, you could set a meeting for 90 minutes and say the first 45 minutes is to create a 2-page user guide. And then the last 45 minutes is to discuss it, pair up, share some of the highlights on others, perhaps set them around, print them out, set them around the room, and go around with a highlighter. Each person's got a different color highlighter, and highlight the pieces that you really resonate with, that you're like, yes, we're gonna work really well together. That idea just came to me in this moment. I haven't tried it, but I suspect it would work really effectively. Don't forget to comment. I'd love to do a sequel to how to manage up with some more specific commentary to your context and how you are wanting to manage up, or what some of the challenges are. So drop a comment with some context. I will soak that in like a sponge and then wring the sponge out in the form of a new video. I'm Chad Littlefield. I hoped that this helped you as a leader and educator make connection and engagement easy within your team. Have an awesome day.